evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, WW7ATS, Western Washington Amateur Television Society, a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. It takes in video images at 70 centimeters and spits them out at 1.2 gigahertz. To find more about Western Washington Amateur Television Society, just Google YouTube WW7ATS. That'll take you to our homepage. There you'll find a bit about the club, and there's also a link for streaming for our nets that are held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So click on that link and you'll get to see what's happening with our nets. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR, known as the 08 machine, 147.08, for our voice transmissions during our nets. So with that, I'll take a pause. This is Dave, WW7CYM. In case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. This is Dave, WW7CYM. Hearing none, again, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, WW7CYM, and our audio is on the 08 machine for our voice transmissions. So far checked in by video link is Ron, KD7QKU, Jessica, KS7UHK, Bob, K9PQ, Richard, K7ITX, and we have two people texted in that they'll be late, Lee N7KC and James WU7N, and this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else that would like to check into the net this evening? We'll start off the net up at the top with Ron, KD7QKU.
Hello everybody, and thank you very much, Dave, KD7ZYM in the group, KD7QKU here in Tacoma, where it's much cooler this evening, and it was cloudy here all morning. I was going to go out and work in the yard in the afternoon, but then the sun came out, so I decided that it might get too hot, and I was lazy besides, so I just stayed in the shade and enjoyed the beautiful weather. So anyway, well, there's a little bit of things going on here, but I'll save them, I guess, for the next round. So I'll just turn it back to Dave, KD7ZYM, KD7QKU.
QKU, thanks for that, Ron. Well, let's go over to Jessica, KS7UHK, who's hanging out around Saturn.
This is KS7UHK. I think it's Jupiter. This is Saturn, but I think it's Jupiter that we used to think it had 12 moons, but now I think it has like 58 or something. I have to go look up to see what they call it now, but it used to be 12 for Jupiter. But this is Saturn sitting behind me. I think this is from a program called Stellaria, which I think is really pretty neat, and I need to go play with it more, but I just haven't had time. But I did drive a paratransit today, which is for folks who need a little more help getting around, and I did that all day long up around everywhere from Laconia up to Cedar Woolley, and it was a very long day, but learned a lot, learned how to find locations and how to
Yeah, 7UHK, Jessica, thanks. Well, let's go to our host, Richard, K7ITX in Kent. Oh my, and we get a note from him saying, I lost my voice. I hope it's not a silent key. Anyway, he will be rather quiet tonight. So let's move on to Bob, K9PQ, who has a voice for all. Unrecognizable. Possibility you were on the wrong tone. 103.5 for Cougar Mountain. For Cougar. We'll take a quiet pause, see if anybody else would like to check into the net this evening. With that not happening, let's see, we've got, as I said, James is out, we'll be back later. Lee is out and be back later. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. I've got 74 degrees here. Unfortunately, my sauna bit the dust with the cooler weather. Well, it's been an exciting couple of days. I went to a movie yesterday with my daughter where the Crawdads sing. I thought it was some kind of a musical group, but it turned out to be sort of a murder mystery. And it was a 2-hour-long movie, and it was really well done, and it had a very surprise ending. So if anybody watches it, recommend it. A little bit on the long side, but the ending, you kind of scratched your head and wow, it's really true. So that was kind of interesting. Let's see, today I fixed some stuffed peppers that I got from Costco, nummy dish. All you have to do is prepare them, stick them in the oven for an hour at 400 degrees, and you have instant stuffed peppers. So I enjoyed that. Also, while I was at Costco, I got some of their rotisserie chicken and had fun with that. I read an article earlier in the week about something that you can do with the rotisserie chicken, and I picked to do pulled chicken and sort of pieced off the pieces like you would with pulled pork, and added barbecue sauce and sriracha with it and put it on a bun, and it actually tasted pretty good. I was impressed. Could have used a little more sriracha, but it worked out very well. But I did have a lot left over that I put in bags and put them in the freezer, so in the future, in the next few days, I can have some more special barbecue pulled pork sandwiches. That's what I'm up to for that. So that's pretty much what's been going on. This is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. And an ID.
we have one guy that can't talk, one guy that sounds awful, and the rest of them aren't here. So anyway, well, the other day I taken the neighbor's garbage cans home. The neighbor Judy and Mike. Mike's in a wheelchair and he goes into the kidney dialysis about every other day. And I put their garbage cans in the backyard. I noticed that their gate and their fence was just falling off, and so when I saw Judy, I said if it would be all right, I would try to repair the gate a little bit. She said, sure, no, that would really be appreciated. So I went over and I secured the hinges to the gate, and then the screws, are just nails or whatever within it, just pretty much rusted out and were gone. So I set the gate on a 2x6, and then I screwed the hinges to the post, and then I moved the latch up, and then I had to secure the post a little bit. It was pretty wobbly. The fence was awful rotten. But I wasn't interested in rebuilding the whole little piece of fence there, but anyway, I got it so where the gate would open and close. Pretty nice. She was happy anyway. So that's what I did. Let me let it drop. School day, I went out and I trimmed this bush at my driveway between our property and their property. It's on my side, so I have to trim it. It just flowered the other day, and then seemed like, and then now the shoots were sticking out of it about a foot long, so I had to cut them all off. And holy smokes, I was using a little electric hedge trimmer, but the bush is probably taller than I am, and my arms got so tired, I'm telling you. I'm so out of shape, it's unbelievable. So I had to recruit Joanne to help me a little bit. So I've been using this tarp on the ground so that I wouldn't have to, there's a lot of rock there, and so I wouldn't have to rake everything up. And so she helped me dump the tarp into the garbage, yard waste container. So we did that 2 or 3 times, and I finally got the thing shaped up. But it didn't take very long, but I'm telling you, old age, I think, is really catching up to me. What it is laziness. I don't do anything. That's what it is, really. I suppose I should get some free weights or something and work out a little bit every day to keep my strength up. But you know how that goes. I have them, it's just I don't want to bring them in and use them. So I guess back to net for now. So KD7ZYM in the group, KD7QKU.
KU, let's go on to Jessica, KS7UHK.
Help you out with those free weights there, Ron, but I don't want to lift them up either, so there you go. Maybe you get a couple people to help you, you can lift them up. So make it a joint effort. I had to look it up. Jupiter has 80 moons, not including moonlets, and Saturn has 83 moons, not including moonlets, smaller moons. So that's a whole bunch. It's much different than we thought as children. And Dave, your meals are really good. I've got right now a cedar wrapped salmon that I got from the grocery outlet market for probably $5 or something. And it's smelling really good right now. It's cooking in the oven, and I got some rice going. On other news, we stopped at a truck stop called it's like Joanne's truck stop up here near Marysville, and just because I think one of our people in the truck wanted to use the restroom, so we thought, well, let's go to the truck stop. And in this store they had inside the truck stop, they had a Bearcat single side band radio for $180. It looked really nice and new, modern. A Bearcat. That's an 11-meter radio. For those who don't know what that is, it's a CB radio. But you can get the same thing on Amazon for $149.95. It's like, I almost kind of want one of those because I still have antennas. I got a really nice half-wave antenna that worked really well when I was playing with single-side band. Not that I need it, and not that anybody's out there on CB radio anymore. So that's my dilemma. I've got the money, but do I need another radio? Not really, because if I get a radio, then I I also got to get a power supply, and then I got to find friends who are on those bands. So I'm going to pass it back. KF7UHK.
UHK. Well, let's try Bob again. K9PQ. K9PQ, your signal's down, and then we were getting a sort of a rolling audio tone that came in right after you. I don't know, we're experiencing sunspots right now that might be affecting you, who knows. You want to try again? K9PQ, go ahead. Aren't with you tonight, unfortunately. Sorry to hear about that, Bob. Let's move on down to Richard, K7ITX. Still without a voice. Well, sorry to hear, but you can't hear us, so you're very lucky for that, I guess. Oh boy. Not COVID, is it? Just something else that decided that you became a mutant. Oh yes. Those bronchial dilators done bonked you in, so to speak. Well, this is Dave, KD7CYM, and here in Lake City again. It's 74 degrees. Gosh, beautiful weather. Got a chance to go out for a walk in the neighborhood. The interesting thing, this is garbage day, and I did get a new garbage container 2 weeks ago, but I set out my old garbage can and they didn't take it last week, but this week they did take it. So anyway, the old garbage can is gone and the new container is at my beckoned fingers to fill up again. I guess the new ones are designed so they can reach out with an automatic arm and pick it up and then put it into the truck, as opposed to have somebody come out and physically roll it around the street to take it over to the garbage truck to dump it. So anyway, I think it's probably a labor issue with a new type of refuse containers that they're putting out in the city of Seattle, and that was good to see. I did think it was recycle day, and I stuck out my cans for that, but I think I missed it by a week, so they're still on the curb, and I guess next week I'll get recycled, so I'll pull those back in. And let's see, I have a garage door that malfunctioned, the motor, and finally got a hold of somebody to come out and take a look at it. So hopefully tomorrow morning I'll have some service on that or find out about it, providing they show up. It took me 3 calls to finally make a contact, and then they finally texted me back that I did have an appointment and the time, and then they gave an issue number for the call. So that was kind of interesting. I've never had that happen before with trying to do something that all of a sudden you were contacted via the internet on your phone. So anyway, new times are moving along. So that's about here, so let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7ZYM, the group, KD7QKU. Well, let's see. I talked to Dave today, and I got a security camera for outside, a little Wi-Fi camera, and it had a solar panel with it. And so I hooked it up in the backyard yesterday morning. I used 2 camera tripods and set it out there, and it seemed to be working fine. The picture was pretty nice, and the motion detector seemed to be working. It didn't seem to, the motion liked, but it worked. So I decided, then I looked around the house, and I decided I'd put it out in front. So I put it out above the front door, put the solar panel on the front of the house, thinking that it would get sun all day. Well, it doesn't get sun all day. It gets sun until, I don't know, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then it looks like it gets in the shade. I was kind of surprised about that, but I guess I don't look at the front of my house that often. The sun kind of goes over the garage, I guess, and it casts a shadow over towards the front of the house. But anyway, it seemed to be charging just fine. It said it was fully charged. I had a lot of trouble getting it on Wi-Fi. It kept saying it didn't do it, but apparently it did. So I tried and couldn't figure out why. I even sent Wade a text asking him a few questions, and I didn't get any response. Wade, his phone number. Let me let it drop. I wasn't sure if he saw my text or not. But anyway, I got up the next morning and I picked up my phone and turned it on, the little app. You have to download an app, of course, to make everything work. And it said I had Wi-Fi signal, and it said what the strength was. It said the battery was 100% charged, and blah, blah, blah. So I guess it's working okay. The Wi-Fi strength could be stronger. Apparently it's a little bit far away from our Wi-Fi, but I didn't think it was that far. But I only paid $39.95 for all of it, so what can I expect? So anyway, I set the motion detector up to maximum range, and I walked around out in the driveway, and it kind of detected me. It seems to be slow detection, but it does. And anyway, then it started detecting the cars that were driving by, so I had to set it back down. Set it down, I think, to 85%. And then I was disappointed that it didn't have what I would call a live feature, where you could turn it on and it takes pictures, like snapshots. So you can look at the pictures, but I kind of wanted a live feature that you could look at something live. Well, it wasn't until this afternoon, I think maybe even after I talked to David, I finally discovered it in the menu. And so now I just wish I could set it in a different place so I could see the whole front of the house and the garage and everything. On my other cameras at home, I put a pole up in the air and mounted a camera on top of the pole. But they were enclosed in a weatherproof housing. This camera says it's weatherproof, but I don't know. It doesn't look weatherproof to me. So it's kind of underneath the eave of the house. So it's a little protected, so we'll see what happens. So that's what I played with for about a day and a half. And I was thinking I would buy a couple more of them, but I'm going to see. I'm going to give it a month and see how it runs before I decide. So anyway, that's it for now. Back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU, Ron, thanks for that. We're still getting a little interference on the 08 machine. It almost sounds like somebody's trying FL Digi, just momentarily, and then it kind of comes in and goes out for information for those that are listening. Well, let's go on to Jessica, KF7UHK.
7UHK. It reminds me, Ron, of my computer that I'm talking from right here. The Wi-Fi modem is at the opposite end of the condo, basically two rooms over in the far wall. And I used to have, this is what I call kind of a study carrel, which is using this stuff called Reflectix, which is foiled bubble pack, which is very nice for insulation. And you can also lay on it as something to cushion your tush if you're like laying on the ground. Well, I had this thing wrapped up around me so that when I'm sitting here doing stuff, I wouldn't bother people on the other side like Sylvia, or I could see her behind this thing. Well,
ID for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, I see Lee has joined us, N7KC in Port Angeles. Let's see if Echolink is going to allow him to come and talk with us.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Oh, good. All right, Lee here, N7KC in Port Angeles. Yeah, well, the local club, well, there was a board meeting tonight. I'm not a member of the board, but I had something for the board. So anyway, so I had to go to that. So anyway, busy day. Nice day. It was not bad. very, almost on the coolish side here today, with the wind off the strait and so forth. I am replacing the floor in our old shed. The rats did a real job on it and so forth, and it's been quite a project. But anyway, so I took up the old floor last week, and now I'm trying to make things right and level and sistering up things to get everything level, and then go from there. So I'm trying to do something every day, and these old bones just don't do very good down there grubbing around. I mean, I'm working in a rat's nest, for heaven's sakes, but I've got most of it cleaned up now and so forth. But they ruined everything in there. The shelves all have to come down and be replaced, and all the work I did before. But I really want that shed back, and so we're making good progress. For my age and condition, good progress, I guess. And I'm still here. Although I tell you, just getting up off the deck out there when you're working is an experience. Yeah, they always say youth is wasted on the young or something like that. I don't know. That's what it is. Oh, I forgot to punch the button, so I better quit. This is N7KC Lee in Port Angeles. Back to you, Dave.
Connected, N7KC.
KC Lee, thanks for joining the net. Well, let's try Bob one more time, K9PQ, see if his radio is going to purr a little. K9PQ, Bob, are you still with us? Not. And Richard's on the silent side, but I did see that Wade has checked in. W7ITL. Wade, go ahead. W7ITL. Wade, are you with us? Strikes were out, but anyway, the ball game's still going. This is Dave again in Lake City, and I really don't have anything more to add outside of the communications seem to be, as amateur radio goes, very successful. We're batting over 70% tonight, so I guess we should be privileged with that. And so let's go back up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
QKU here. Well, Lee, I was telling everybody that I got a Wi-Fi camera. I have it outside, and it has a little solar panel on it to charge it. And I know you've had some Wi-Fi cameras, and I wonder if you have any of them outside in the weather. And if they're battery operated or if they're plug-in electricity operated. So I know when you first moved up there you had some, but I don't know. They're still going. So let's see, that's about all I have. I did turn the sprinkler system off. We got the water bill, and so I had my sprinkler system running every day. Comes on at 4 o'clock in the morning, runs 10 minutes all sections, and it increased my water bill. I don't know if it was $100 or $60. I can't remember now, but it wasn't too bad. I decided I could stand that, so I'm going to continue watering it the next month and see how that goes. I did turn it off today because the guy comes to mow tomorrow, and the last time it was so wet when he mowed. He got here early in the morning. I didn't expect that. Usually he comes in the afternoon, the lawn dries out. So, you know, I fertilized it pretty good, so it grows quite a bit. So it was kind of big. He comes every 2 weeks, so it really needs to be mowed every week, but I guess I can't afford that, so every 2 weeks. But anyway, the fertilizer will wear off after a while. So I turned off the water, so if he shows up early in the morning, it won't be so wet. So I guess that's it for now. Back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK. I can smell salmon. Oh, and I think it's got nice garlic with it.
I think you're absolutely right, and I'm starting to smell it too. So I'm glad that you woke me up there with calling about that salmon, because it's smelling pretty good actually. I'm kind of surprised. I get some pretty good things from the bargain market grocery outlet place. Not everything, but this smells like a winner to me. So it'll be good with rice. Let's see. What else is happening here? I'm going to go do a deposition this weekend, but I'll tell you about it later when I can tell you more about it, because you know, I was kind of more of a witness to when we made circuit boards and all the chemicals that were involved, and people want to know about that. And so I'm going to go spill my guts on all the things that I remember way back in 1978, 79, and for the next 20 years or so of working circuit boards and all the different processes that we did, which were basically not very environmentally safe and not very good for our health. And there's been people who are complaining about that. I'm not complaining about it, but I certainly know about it, and I'm one of the few people that probably are still around to be able to talk about it. So that's going to happen this Saturday. I'm kind of excited about that. I've already talked with one of the lawyers already. I think Boyne wants to talk to me also about what I know, and so it'll be very interesting. I'm just there to tell the truth and what I know. It's going to be a witness to history. Of course, they sent the shop to Texas, 30 years ago, because it was probably easier to get rid of the hazardous waste, which also was generated by making circuit boards, which is a lot of chemicals with heavy metals in them. So that's happening this weekend. Kind of excited about that. Other than that, I'm going to go check out my salmon. This is KF7UHK.
UHK, Jessica, thanks with that. Let's go on to Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Hi, Wade. And I guess Bob is off someplace on the side there. Well, nothing has happened since I last had it. But Ron, I had a number of them. I had, I think 8 of them. Belkins. They were net cameras, and they were Wi-Fi. They did plug into a socket, 110. Well, it was a wall wart that ran them, but they communicated to the outside world over the Wi-Fi system, and they worked really well. We really enjoyed those cameras. We got them when we were moving here because we were leaving our cats here for a couple of days unattended, and so with those cameras we could keep track of cat activity. Well, about 3 years ago, by the way, we'll have been here 8 years, the end of the 28th of this month. But anyway, about 3 years ago, Belkin just announced that they weren't going to support them anymore because you dealt with their cloud. In other words, the images, when you connect it up to the internet. You got it really from Belkin. And they said that they were no longer going to support those cameras as of a certain date, and that was it. And by golly, that date came and everything shut off. And so now I've got several of these things which they're all functional. Can't use them. So Wade would know about this, maybe Bob or somebody. But anyway, it seems to me that since they have an IP address, kind of, that I should be able to connect up to those cameras somehow and at least see them on my computer. Does that make sense? Maybe Wade can answer that if he comes on. So I don't have anything else, Dave. N7KC, Leon Port Angeles, back to you.
KC, well, let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
Well, let's answer those questions real quick for you, Lee. I don't know your specific camera, but I would assume that you could point them to an internal DVR, PVR, and then have it record that way, unless they're all cloud only. But that would be the way I would do it. So, yeah, you should be able to do some Googling and look at some manuals. You should be able to see how to access them over IP. So I give that a shot. There's a couple free programs out there for recording IP cameras out there. I don't recall what they are because I don't use those tools anymore. I did a long time ago, probably 10 years ago. And now I just use Ring, which is all cloud-based. So, yeah, it'll be interesting, Jessica, about your deposition thing, how that goes and how that helps people out. So, it'll be interesting to hear what you find out later about that. Ron, sorry I wasn't able to get to you. I didn't actually see any of your texts, so it might have been related to the problem I was having with my old phone number. So when I went to AT&T, something went wrong, and neither AT&T nor Verizon would phone up to how to fix it. So I just took the easy way out and just got a new phone number, and everybody I want to talk to will get a hold of me. I'll get a hold of them. So that's that. Let's see. I didn't hear anything from Richard. I don't know if that means Richard's not in. I see him on camera, so I'll talk to you later.
ITL, Wade, Richard has a voice problem. Lost his voice, you might say. So I guess we could all go on a hunt and see if we can find his voice. It's probably running around here somewhere on this internet. Anyway, we wish him well. As soon as we find it, we'll return it to him. This is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. Oh, Jessica, with your deposition that's going, I was involved as a downwinder from Hanford during the Second World War, and I was like 5 years old, and I was in Ritzville, Washington, and I remember we couldn't drink the milk because everything had gotten contaminated around, and a few of the sheep had sort of collapsed in the area for some strange reason from radiation. So I survived that pretty well, but so far no side effects. Hopefully they'll be in tomorrow for me, but anyway, I've lived a long life since that. And that's pretty much all I've got to say from here, and wish Jessica well with her depositions that go along. So let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7KU here. Well, that's too bad, Lee, that Belkin won't support those cameras anymore. I think those are pretty nice cameras you have. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Mine might be cloud supported. I don't know. It's awful inexpensive for one thing. But right now, something stores the picture. You can put one of those little SD cards in it, and it'll record the pictures on that. So I don't know if I'm going to buy any more of them or not. I kind of wanted 2 or 3 of them, but I'm going to give it some time and see how it works out. It says it's waterproof, but it doesn't look very waterproof to me. And then it it runs, like I say, on this little solar panel. So, but right now it's saying it's 100% charged. So we'll see. And yeah, no big deal, Wade. It was just it said it wouldn't work on a 5G internet. I just couldn't get it to hook up with my Wi-Fi, and I thought, oh my golly, somehow my 5G, and I didn't know it. It wanted to use 2.4. So I guess I 2.4 seems to work okay now. So anyway, what else is going on? Not much. My wife went into Seattle this afternoon or today to work on that estate again. I feel sorry for her driving all the way into Seattle and fighting the traffic, and then all the way back home. It was really slow coming home tonight for her. So we had dinner a little bit late. So they're talking about a little bit of rain tomorrow. Right now I don't see a cloud in the sky. It was an absolutely gorgeous day here. It was foggy in the morning, and then about the time it was, well, actually at lunch I decided to make myself a chili hot dog. Joanne wasn't home, so I could have hot dogs. So I opened a can of chili, Natalie's chili, and warmed it up and made a hot dog, put it in a bun, and had onions and cheese and stuff on it, and poured the chili over. Man, it was good. So I don't know if I can get away with that again tomorrow, but there's chili left, so I could do it one more time. So that's it. It used to be like my brother would be home. He was a barber, and he would be home on Mondays. And I used to go to work at 2:30 in the afternoon. He would call me and say, "Come over for lunch. I have beans," or sometimes he would have fried bologna sandwiches. You guys probably can't imagine that. But when I grew up, you got bologna, you know, in the big hunk, and you could slice it off about a quarter of an inch thick, and you could cut it. It was rounder so it wouldn't fold up in the frying pan, and you could have fried bologna sandwiches with onions and stuff in them. Good. Yeah. Fried potatoes, fried bologna. It's a wonder we're all alive. Okay, back to that KD7QKU.
QKU. Let's go to Jessica. KF7UHK.
One of the things that is the worst for you is taste the best. So, you know, it's like my diet of it's a grease, salt, and sugar. You know, it's all you need. You got those three things, you're ready for dinner. So, yeah, no, the chili dog, yum. Yeah, it's not just what you have. It's not just the chili and the dog. It's everything else you put with it to spice it up a little bit. So that sounds really good. Yeah, see, I'd want to throw in a little bit of like maybe some serrano chili peppers in there. You know, it's like one notch hotter than the jalapenos, and it really gives a good flavor, good spice to it. Wow, we're going around the horn here pretty quick. It's 45 minutes after the hour. It's KF7 UHK.
HK. Let's go to Lee in 7KC.
Okay, N7KC, Lee here in Port Angeles. Well, tell you, Jessica, I am interested. I know you said you're cooking salmon tonight. On your next report, tell us how you're doing that. What you do to your salmon when you cook it and so forth. I'd be curious. I can't imagine, Richard, how you lost your voice. Have you been sick or something, or? Oh, okay. Maybe bronchitis or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, well, we'll hope that you find it real quick. Yeah, you have to start to learn to sign. Yeah, well, yeah, you bet. We got a new repeater here today, or actually put it in yesterday. The old repeater was one of those Yates Fusions, and like all of that thing had a couple of problems that were There were more than finally could be dealt with. The problem was actually in the repeater. It's set proper, and one of the guys over here had an identical Yaesu fusion to what was up on the hill, and they swapped. Pardon me. They swapped his repeater for the one that was up there. Did the same thing. Then they could find out the problem was actually in the repeater. And then they approached the manufacturer, Yaesu, and they said, yeah, we know about that. And they didn't offer anything, to fix it. So it was really had been causing a problem for a long time because the net operator, if you push the button just a little too soon after the carrier dropped, it would go off to the north 40 for as many seconds as you triggered it. It was retriggerable. So people were trying to run, especially Aries nets here, and they're missing a lot of check-ins. Nobody could figure out why, but of course that's why it was. And then its timeout timer didn't work properly, and it ran over the Echolink timer, and that caused everybody on Echolink that was tied into a net to be dumped. And this went on, and it just couldn't fix it. And so I said, hey, look, computers don't cost that much money. I said, in a real emergency, you'd be awful glad you spent the money on a decent machine. So they bought what's the one that makes the Bridgecom? They bought a Bridgecom repeater. They're only like $1,500, and they put it in yesterday, and so now we're all kind of listening to it, trying to see what we think. So there you go. Well, I ran out of time, so I better send it back to you, Dave. N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Go ahead.
KC. Well, let's go to Tacoma to Wade, W7ITL.
W7ITL, and let's see, got a couple things to kind of touch base on. So, as you guys saw, I've been out for a while. I'm still going to be kind of in and out for a while until I get all this training done. So, got the big initiative at work to get some training done for the whole team. So, it's eating up a lot of my time. Let's see other things. My daughter just finally got a job, so she's working. And she started working last week. I think maybe it's been 2 weeks now. But she's working at Dairy Queen over here in the Preston area. And she's doing good, and we're going to probably have her license to drive here maybe tomorrow. We'll see. She's going to be taking the drive test. She already had it written. Let me see, the house. We're working on getting the turret down. They delivered the dumpster today, and I think they're going to start work if they get all the demo equipment, scaffolding, and all that stuff all delivered. So, but that's going to start getting ripped down. I ripped off my antenna off the side of my staircase so they could rip it down. So that's been relocated to inside the roof, and they had to pull all the stuff off the deck and get the deck all ready so they can demo the deck too. So we got the deck getting demoed, and then the staircase the roof is going to get demoed, and then we'll see when we're going to get a new staircase and a new deck. But one step at a time. So that I also did some. Let me wait for a second. I did some weed whacking and got that ready because the demo crew is doing it all by hand. They're not going to have any cherry pickers or anything like that to just move it into the dumpster. They're going to do it. They're just going to pull it down the hill. So I was whacking down all the berry vines and everything that's on our hill so they can get it down the hill and not get all sticker bushed. So hopefully I get that done tomorrow. I was going to get about maybe halfway done until I ran out of battery power. So I'll do a little bit tomorrow morning and get it finished up, and hopefully they'll get everything going tomorrow, and then that's it, I think, for this round. And I don't know if I'm gonna. I think we're almost out of time here. So this is W7ITL. Back to net.
W7ITL and ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else who would like to check into the net this evening? I'll pause for that. Okay, this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. Well, it has dropped down another degree. It's 73 degrees here in Lake City. So it's starting to cool down this evening, so I imagine we'll all get a good night's sleep with a little chillier weather than what it was earlier in the week. I noticed the weather is supposed to increase this coming weekend, possibility on Sunday going to the high 80s, so maybe a quick day of warmth that'll be in this area. The rain for tomorrow, and it looked like we might see some precipitation in Port Angeles tomorrow, as opposed to some of us here in the Seattle, Puget Sound area. Let's see, I haven't got anything else to add to that, so I'll send it back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU here. Okay, well I just looked at my thermometer, it's 61 degrees outside, so that's pretty cool. It was, what was it this morning? 58, I think, when I got up this morning. The house was a little bit warm last night. The wood was still warm. I had the air conditioner running in the bedroom until we were ready to go to sleep. I have a little remote control, and I can reach over and pick it up and shut it off. That's kind of slick. And yeah, Wade, it's really nice to hear that they're going to get started on your house, get all that demolition done, and then put up your new staircase. I guess I'm kind of anxious to see that. I'll have to come over. It's that's, you know, that I don't know what you call it. I guess you want to call it a turn or something. You have kind of like a silo. It's really a distinguishing feature, but kind of sad that you have to lose it. But I know it's really rotten and it would cost too much to replace it. So anyway, I'm anxious to see what they do. So I guess I'm not going to stick around much tonight after net. I just don't have much to talk about anymore. I don't do anything. Don't go anyplace. Don't do anything. It's just about all I do is pull weeds and watch the baseball games. And there are a couple of them on right now. The Mariners have been doing quite well. I think they beat the Yankees the last two games. Richard's nodding them down. I can't watch them because they have Dish. Apparently Dish and Roots got into a disagreement or something, so they don't show them anymore. So I don't get to watch the games. So I don't listen to them on. I just on the radio either I just hear the report on the news, TV news. I think maybe they might have played an afternoon game today, Wednesday sometime. Yeah, Richard's not them down. They did. Okay. All right. So anyway, back to net, KD7QKU.
KU, Ron. Let's go on to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Everett, KF7UHK. So what I'm eating tonight is going to be from a company called Ocean Beauty Alaska Salmon. It is wrapped, there are two little fillets wrapped in cedar. I can't quite figure out where they are manufactured, but I found them at the grocery outlet bargain market. So I think this set of two fillets were maybe $8 at the very most, and they smell really good. They were wrapped in hermetically sealed in plastic, and just comes in a little box. And so that's you cook them at 350 degrees for about 25-30 minutes, something like that. And so we'll see. They're probably highly processed with lots of chemicals, which I'm so fond of. And I'll give you a full report next time we talk about how good they are or not. They smell really good. So, I'm skeptical whenever I buy things from the bargain market because you never know. There's some reason why they ended up there and not in your main local stores. There's some reason why they didn't sell KF7, UHK.
UHK, Jessica, thanks for joining the net this evening. And let's go on to Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, I'm of the opinion that no matter if it's salmon, it's going to be good. You know, boy, I do like that fish. I never had salmon until I was 18 years old and I came to Seattle. Back in Ohio, we didn't have salmon. Never once. Paula's granddad up in Bellingham was quite a fisherman. And before we were married, we were visiting him, and he says, "You like to fish?" And I says, "Oh, yeah. Done a lot of fishing back in Ohio." "Well, what kind of fish did you fish for?" "Oh, bluegill and crappie and smallmouth, largemouth, bass." "Oh," he says, "those are scrap fish." If it wasn't a salmon, it was a scrap fish. But anyway, once I had some salmon, I was hooked. So there you go. Anyway, 7-3s everybody. So I was a little late, but I enjoyed your net always. Anyway, so back to you, Dave. Get somebody else in here. In 7KC, Lee in Port Angeles.
KC, well, let's go to Richard, K7ITX for an arm wave before we clean out the net.
Slowly coming back. K7ITX.
Goodness, you found your voice. It was hidden in that microphone, I guess. And it finally came back. Well, anyway, thanks for joining us this evening. And let's see, we got time to go to Wade, W7ITL for a final.
Good evening, and have everybody, and it was a good night. So I'm glad to see everybody again, and we'll do this again hopefully Saturday. So this is my final, W7ITL.
7ITL, thanks for that. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater, the 08 repeater, in 147.08 with a subtone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions held on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, signing off, this is Dave, KD7CYM, clear of the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening all.